morning, Miss Oak.
Good morning.
I'm really interested in today's topic because this is something that we cannot relate to. So today we are talking to twin mom Helen, who is a twin who has twins.
Ooh, lots of twins going on there.
Lots of twins going on. And it was fascinating to talk to her because her mindset on having twins is so much different than ours because we weren't raised as a set.
Yeah.
So think about that, which we've had before. We've had guests before on that have twins, that are twins. This podcast is entirely about that. And so she talks about, even like one of the things that we were talking about was like, what do your kids call your twin? Because it's not just a regular auntie. It's a different relationship. Like, let's say that I was a twin, but I also had 6 other siblings. The relationship with my twin is going to be significantly different than the other siblings that we have. So even that, do you choose a different name? If you had a twin, okay, so now, do you think your twin, let's play like we're like little girls and we're going to play Barbies, right? And so our Barbies are going to be, your Barbie has to have a twin. Is your Barbie going to be, would you have preferred an identical twin or a fraternal twin?
I don't know. Maybe identical because my girls are fraternal. I'm very fascinated with the identical thing. The fact that they were like one thing and they split. So maybe
your girls are like weird fraternals though. They're not weird. Well, they're weird. They're weird anyway because they're your children.
I say they're the world's worst twins because they don't like each other.
They're not. They're like oil and water, and it's always been.
Always. And I think it always will be.
So that fights Helen's argument.
Why?
Because your twins, I don't think, would want to have twins.
No, they wouldn't. They'd be like, no, it was the worst experience ever.
That makes me so sad. But they really are so different that it shows you that it does not matter that they have the same birthday. It doesn't matter that they were womb mates. That's just the cards that they were dealt.
Yep.
When did you see that? Like were they infants when they were like killing each other?
In utero, they were killed. Like Emily couldn't sit still. And every once in a while, Abigail was like, I'm still here, don't worry. But they were just so different.
Yeah.
Just from the get-go, from day one.
But if we really think now, right, they're 2 sporty spices. They probably have more in common than they have different on paper.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So why do they do this to each other? Like, do you think that because they're twins, they feel like they could hurt each other more because they're so close?
I don't know what it is. You know what? You should interview them.
Oh, I would love that. I know one of them will definitely say yes. So
I don't know if they'd even get on together. You'd have to interview them separately.
I think I may have to. You are so magnificent. And for everybody that's listening, like, honestly, you guys, you have no idea. There's people in the world that you're just like, I don't understand how the world created those people, and the world's going to eat them up and, crap them out. And you would think that was Lauren, that the world was going to eat her up because she's so good and she's so compassionate. And so, you are. So give me a break. You know that you're extra empathetic compared to most people.
I am.
You know that you're more compassionate than most people. So like, there's just things that are different about you that it doesn't make sense why that didn't trickle in through your placenta. They're great kids, though, for the record. Like, honestly, I mean, I do clearly have a favorite.
Put together, it's not good.
I know. Independently, I'm fascinated by that. So that's why, like, when I was talking to Helen, I was thinking about your girls because not every twin wishes they had a twin. And this is why Joan Friedman is critical in the United States. So for those of you who don't know Joan Friedman, she is a psychologist that specializes in twin mental health, let's say. Yeah. So one book that was really great that's on the shelf behind me is The Same But Different. And it's all stories of twins that either didn't want to be twins, had an unhealthy twin relationship, like something was going on. But this is something that's studied. So it's not, because there's also Nancy Siegel. So like Google those 2 women, Joan Friedman, Nancy Siegel, write it down. Those are like the 2 big players when it comes to like twin psychology. You could technically make an appointment with the girls with Joan. if you ever wanted to do that, I am sure she would
Yeah.
say, I love Joan. Like on, and I remember reading Joan's book, which was the first book that I read of hers was called I think it's called Raising Emotionally Healthy Twins. And
Okay.
I remember reading that when my twins were little because they were going through like that 4 or 5 year old where they didn't want to be twins, but then they loved the security of each other, but didn't like the label. Like it was like this
Yeah.
weird period of time around kindergarten that my twins were struggling. And of course, I didn't know how to help them. And certainly my parents didn't know how to help them because that's the generation that children should be seen and not heard, so to speak,
Yeah.
right? That we were so deliciously raised within. That was nice. But I remember reading that book, and then years later, when I finally met Joan in person, she picked me up from the airport. This isn't even a joke, in Los Angeles. It was the first time I met her. And she's like, I'll come get you. And she's like, and then she's like, let's go to lunch. And I was like, where do we go? And she's like, well, In-N-Out Burger. She's like,
Oh,
it's LA. You're in LA. So we
yeah.
go to In-N-Out Burger, but she is definitely somebody who probably doesn't eat In-N-Out Burger more than like once a full moon at best.
Okay.
At
Okay.
that, maybe twice a year. I don't know. So I was like, oh my God, am I taking Joan and I'm making her eat garbage? And like, look, like this is like my idol and I'm forcing her to eat French fries. I felt so weird. But after that, it was a very big moment in my career because I realized that people that I had on a pedestal are
Yeah.
genuinely the same as everybody else.
Yep. Yep.
And it was so, I could tell, I even remember what I wore that day. That's how big of a day it was. I could tell you how my makeup was done that
Ooh.
day because
Ooh.
it was a moment that made me say, like, I could do this. Like, I
Yeah.
could be that person. Of course, this was 711 or 11, 12 years ago. So 712 years ago was the actual date that I saw Joan, but I was so new in Twiniversity and trying to figure out who I was outside of being a mother,
Yep.
that she was the one that helped me where I thought she was helping me with my 20s. She genuinely was helping me realize that we could all be who we want to be. It doesn't matter the pedigree that we had.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, she was unbelievable. I love Joan. I still love Joan to this day. We have podcasts with Joan. There's nothing. And if she called me tomorrow, I would do whatever she said. And I've called her. I've texted her on behalf of Twiniversity families. And I'd be like, Joan, like we have like a twin struggle. This mama's going through it. Here's what these twinnies are doing. And she will stop the world for Twiniversity. Like she's
Aw.
unbelievable. So I want you to hear all about Helen and her experience with her twinnie. Then maybe we force your girls to listen to it. We
Okay.
play it in the car, just like in the
Perfect.
background, and see if they
Yeah.
pick up anything that Helen's talking about. I know,
Wow.
never happening, but you know what's fun to dream. All right, are you ready to meet Helen?
Yes.
All right, girl, here she is. Hi, Helen. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Nat. Thanks.
I don't know how you're finding time to do this at 33 weeks pregnant with your boy-girl twins. I don't know how you're squeezing this in. Plus, it's close to a holiday, which is always crazy. When they're listening to this, it might already be warm. Who knows? But
Yep.
how are you holding up this far in your pregnancy?
Honestly, I think I'm pretty lucky. This pregnancy hasn't been as bad as some twin pregnancies. Heartburn's been the worst, some pelvic pressure now, but I haven't super had to like call off work yet. So I'm very fortunate. I
Thank
feel like
goodness.
I'm happy about that.
So, Helen, you are like the needle in the haystack of guests, right? So there's so many different wonderful things. First of all, I love talking to pregnant people because I always think it's wild for you to almost use this episode as a time capsule too, which is kind of
Yeah.
fun because you'll get to listen to it in 5 years and you'll be like, oh my God, I remember when that happened. And then you are 20 yourself. So
Yes.
that always fascinates me because now I want to know everything that you're going to do with your 20s that you either did before or that you definitely don't want to do again. And then you have the extra delicious layer of having some fertility issues thanks to your endometriosis, which is a fan favorite here at Twiniversity. I feel like so many of us have either endo or PCOS that the list just gets longer and longer every year of families that kind of have to resort to fertility treatments just because of the cards that Mother Nature dealt them with their old uterus town. So, yeah, could we kind of start with talking about your life as a twin and if you ever saw this in your own future?
Yeah, so I always said I think everyone needs a twin, like ever since we were younger, like me and my twin sister, because we're really close. We're like, everyone needs a twin. And we actually have three older siblings.
Hmm.
So my mom had three kids from a previous marriage, and then she had her tubes tied. So she had to do IVF with us. So we
Wow.
were like one of the original IVFs back in the 80s.
Wow.
So, and it was funny because she actually said they transferred five embryos and two stuck. Yeah, because they did that back then. So it was me and my twin sister, but there's a huge gap. Like our siblings are 10, 12, 14 years older
Okay.
than us, and we're close with them, but obviously the twin bond is just different. So I think with my twin, like we were always very close. Like we have the same best friends, like our core group. And
Mhm.
she's a little more social than me, so she has more friends, but our main friends were all the same. And then what else? What was the original question? What was it
So,
like?
yeah, just like, did you ever see this coming? Did you think that you had twins, especially knowing that you were an IVF twinny yourself? Was that even on the radar?
Well, so I was like, I would love to have twins. I was like, it's kind of scary, but then I was like, I would like to have twins. But at first, when before we had the fertility issues, I wasn't like, yes, we're gonna have twins. But
Mhm.
then once we did that, I was like, well, maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing to happen. So I always wanted twins, but I was like, it probably wouldn't happen just because
Mhm.
it's not, a genetic thing in our family, really. Even though we do have some family members with twins, but
Well, now you do. So there
yeah.
you go. But you're in almost the same boat. I'm so fascinated and I'm dying to know why your mom waited 10 years to roll those dice again.
Well, so she got married really young. She's from the Philippines and her husband was there, and then they got a divorce and she moved to the US
Yes.
and they got
Okay.
remarried. Yeah,
All
so
right.
she was like in her 20s when like early 20s when she had my siblings. So yeah. That and then she was like 33 when she had us.
That's so much work. That was
Yeah.
a lot of work back. It's still a lot of work now. I mean, obviously, the process of this whole thing, but like going through IVF, I remember 20 years ago. So my 20s are 20. So 20 years ago when I went through this, it was just really insanely challenging. They've definitely simplified the process and fine-tuned it a lot more over the past 20 years. So it's
Yeah.
interesting too to watch that because knowing that this is how my kids came into the universe, right? It's so fascinating to kind of stay up to date on just fertility treatments in general. But now we're like they're doing less and less multiple embryo transfers, right? So like your
Mhm.
mom and me were like, throw everybody in, see what happens. This is what's gonna be. And now they're being so much more precise. But interesting, Helen, I will tell you that we have so many Twiniversity families that basically have done a single embryo transfer that then split into identicals. So
Yeah,
like
I
that's a
hear that
whole
on the
other
podcast.
subset.
It's interesting. Yeah.
And by the way, that's just one person that we got to interview, but the amount of people that we have in our little
Mhm.
Twiniversity family is kind of nuts. All
Oh,
right,
wow.
so now you being a twinny, right? And you're like, I don't know what's happening. When did you find out that you may need to take the same path as your mom with having some additional assistance in conceiving?
So it probably like started 4 years ago or so. We're trying for a year and then like, okay, let's just go get tested. Everything looks good. The like labs, everything's always good.
Mhm.
Like, oh, it looks great. And of course they're like, I asked, well, what about endometriosis? Because I always had just heavy periods, but not a lot of pain. And they're like, oh, well, we could cut you open because we used to do that all the time, but we don't need to do that anymore because it's a major surgery. They
Mhm.
don't tell you it costs way less than IVF. So, and for some people, yes, you can bypass it, but for us, it just didn't work. And we did like IUI a couple times. One IUI worked, but then I guess it was an ectopic pregnancy because when we went
Mm.
in, they couldn't find the fetal sacs. So then they had to give me meds. And then after that, we kind of switched clinics. And then, we were like, I guess we have to do IVF. And then, so with that, we did three transfers and they failed.
Mm.
And so we didn't test our embryos because we just didn't feel like, we're like, well, if they're abnormal, what are we going to do with them? We just didn't feel right about that.
Yeah.
So, first one, yeah, sometimes it doesn't work. Second one, maybe that one was abnormal. Third one, we're like, okay, we have to do more testing. So the doctor, she said there's those receptive biopsy tests. That's a
Okay.
biomarker for endometriosis. So she did that, like you mimic a cycle, and then she's like, oh yeah, I came back positive, which we kind of suspected.
Mm.
And so she's like, you could do Lupron, the meds for 3 months, but that has really bad side effects, or surgery. So I was like, I think we should just do surgery,
Mm.
because it's like the meds puts you in mini menopause
Yeah.
and then it could come back.
Yes.
And so it's like, we might as well get rid of it. So then that's kind of we had to do. And I found like Nancy's Nook on Facebook, which is
Hmm.
like a really good resource for endometriosis. They're like, kind of need an expert. Not anyone can do the surgery. So find an expert person. And he's like, yeah, okay, it's probably only going to be 3 or 4 hours because like my uterus wasn't frozen. Everything on the exam looked okay. We go in, it's a 5 hour surgery. And I didn't realize it's under general anesthesia. So I
Yeah.
didn't think it was that intense. And then my fallopian tubes were all folded over and like attached. So I
Mm.
think that's where the ectopic pregnancy came in. Because after my surgeon was like, you're at high risk for ectopic pregnancy. So you have to be very careful. Like if you get pregnant, you have to go in early.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess that was a good thing because if we did the surgery first, we could have more ectopic pregnancies. I don't know.
It's honestly, I'm not like a big fan of let's cut everybody open, but what I wish that past me knew was that endometriosis spreads and it could spread like
Mhm.
wildfire at different times of your life. And you do kind of, depending on where you have it, you do like currently my endo is totally inoperable because it's
Mm.
all attached to my bowels.
Oh,
So
okay.
it made it all the way up into my abdomen. So it's like
Yeah.
spider webs up through. And so they're like, we can't, God forbid, touch your bowels and then nick something. But I had no idea that it kept growing. So
Hmm.
this is where I just literally was like the dummiest of dummies back in the day. And now also another thing that I wasn't aware of was that your ovaries could fill up with your endometriosis. And then basically it suffocates your own eggs from kind of jumping through the hoops. So it's such a wild, is it a disease? What are they, a disorder? What is endometriosis actually? Do we know what it's
Yeah.
classified as?
I think it's a disease.
I'll take it. Sure.
Yeah.
But it's
And
so funny because I think because it's not going to kill you, that I think as
right.
women, we're just like, we'll walk it off until you
Yeah.
try to conceive. And then all of a sudden you're like, WTF, why didn't I get this taken care of before? So I'm so happy that they didn't let you wait so long after really kind of digging in to figure out what you were going to do next. Because we have Twiniversity families who went through like 8 years of this, of failed infertility and keep trying and whatever. You're so lucky, Helen. And like, I hope everybody else that if anybody's listening to this, being an advocate for yourself is so critical because I feel like we're so with endometriosis and really a lot of fertility issues in general, we're often a little dismissed and
Hmm.
especially dependent on your age. Like if you have endo at 20, you think it's going to be gone by the time you want to have
Right.
kids at 22. But people, if you try to get pregnant at 24, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but it's somebody's choice if they want to conceive earlier in their life. And if they can't conceive, doctors are like, oh, don't worry about it. You have time. You're young. Keep trying. Keep going. Meanwhile, it's like there's a whole freaking brush fire. Could somebody pay attention to this? So I'm so proud of you, Helen. I wonder if it has to do a little bit with the fact that your mom has gone through this and normalized it for you and your sissy. Do you think that played a role at all in like knowing that IVF was a thing and like it's successful and it's not a stigma and it's not bad? Did that make you more likely to be like, okay, we got to pull out the big guns a little bit sooner?
A little bit, yeah, because like we always knew we were IVF, but I think also I'm very impatient. So that probably did it too. Because I was like, okay, well, what is going on? Because I was always like, what's the next step?
Yeah.
And I think that receptive test, which is kind of new, I don't think everyone does it. I think that really helped. because there's no way to know you actually have it until you do surgery or
Yeah.
that test. It's highly correlated. So that helped. So I think it was more, yeah, just me being impatient.
Yeah.
And then like when we had three fail, because we did three in a row and that was rough.
Mm.
So having three failures in a row, it was like, okay, well, we can't do this again. Like it's just too emotional. Like we got to
Yeah.
figure out what's going on.
And
So I
financially
think
too.
that helped.
But
Yeah, that
it's
too, like
literally
every time.
nothing. There's no winning with obviously a failed IVF. It's like really it starts to make you question, should you be a mom? Should you continue doing this? Why are you playing with fire? Is this what your cards were dealt with? We have so many families in our, in our twin world that literally goes through all of that. When you have so many failed ones, do you keep going, right? Did you and your partner discuss what your cap was going to be before you even started this adventure? Did you say, okay, we're going to, whether you put, whether it's budgetary and say, okay, we're going to allot X amount, or whether it's time and we're going to allow X amount of months? Did you have a discussion on what kind of the end game would be?
Not really, because I was like, there's that, it's just not going to happen. It's going to work out. So probably not the best. I think my husband was more like, okay, how much longer do you want to keep doing this? I
Mhm.
mean, we only had to do one cycle. So we were very fortunate because we got five embryos, and I always had the feeling like once I got pregnant, it
Yeah.
would be okay. Like I knew I just had to get pregnant and it would be okay. So if there wasn't all that inflammation from the endo, it would work out. So I always had that feeling like it
Mhm.
was going to work out. So we didn't really talk about like if we had to do IVF again. I think my husband would probably want to wait. But then also, so when we did the egg retrieval, I was 35. So, it's like, you're right there where
Your
the longer
geriatric
you
pregnancy.
wait, yeah, and
Yeah.
the longer you wait, you're going to need more eggs and stuff. He would want to wait, but then I'm like, but we can't.
Yeah.
There is a time limit
Yeah,
for
clock's
this.
ticking. How did
Mhm.
you convince the doctor, or what was that discussion like to put in the two embryos with now
Okay.
everybody being so cautious about making sure that nobody's having twins, which is, I do think it's deliciously cautious for the record. I don't think people are over exaggerating, but did you, what was that conversation? Because with your fraternal twinnies, right, if you had identicals, then we could say, oh, you only put in one, but we know there had to either be one that you put in and then another one escaped the chicken coop, which is another
Yeah.
possibility that happens. But how did that come up with IVF?
So, I mean, she gave me options. So after the third one, she was like, we could do a double one now because you had to. I think if we did the genetic
Hmm.
testing, she probably would have been different. But she's like, because we didn't and we just don't know.
Yeah.
And she always said from the beginning, like, okay, if we get five embryos, I feel confident you'll get one pregnancy, like one live birth. So I think that was her rationale. So she kind of left it up to me. And then, because I did the surgery, I still was like, we might as well do two because I don't want to have a failed one and
Yeah.
do that again. Like we were like emotionally, it was too much. I was like, I'd rather roll the dice. If we have twins, I feel like it'll be okay. I always wanted twins anyways. So I was like, let's just do it. And she was fine with that.
That's great. It's really having the support of your medical team is so critical. And so you said that you changed clinics.
Yes.
Why did you not just continue to beat your head against the wall like so many of us do? Like, what was the deciding factor that you're like, okay, this isn't working. It's not me, it is them, right? It's not you, it's me, like as they say.
Yeah.
But how did you know that was the time to jump ship with that practice to start fresh with somebody else?
So I think my husband really didn't like that practice as much, I think. Like he felt like it was more like a numbers thing. And
Mm,
when we talked about IVF, it felt like more used car salesmanship because they wanted us to sign all these consent forms already. And we are like,
mm,
whoa, I thought this was just the info. And so I was kind of okay with it. It was also at a teaching hospital. There were so many students just always in the room. And so I tell people now, like, that's it's a good program, but there are going to be students in there all the time, like watching, looking at the exams, and it is awkward. After a while, it's like, all right, I'm done with this. And I remember with one like vaginal ultrasound, there was like a resident that needed to practice doing it. And I was like, okay, this is uncomfortable. And the tech, she eventually took over
Mhm.
because he was taking too long. But I was like, this doesn't feel good. Like, you don't know what you're doing. Like, stop. I've had like this done way more than I should have. So I'm like,
Yeah,
stop. So I think that was the main thing. So I kind of would avoid the teaching hospitals, even though they're good for research. Like, this area is just so sensitive.
absolutely.
It
And
gets like
time is of the essence. Like
tiring.
we
Yeah.
don't have the opportunity to waste. So we living where I do, we have so many teaching hospitals, and it's actually something that we discuss even in our Twiniversity classes to say that if you are delivering, that you have the legal right to say, I do not want any, non-essential hospital employees in the room, whether it's IVF, whether it's delivery, whether it's postpartum, like you are allowed to say that. Just because it is a teaching hospital, they don't have kind of a right to tell you who's going to be there because it is your journey. It is
But you
not their
feel
journey.
bad. Like I feel bad doing that.
I
So
feel bad a
it's
little
like,
too
yeah,
now, especially because being on the side that I needed internships and
yeah.
then like knowing how difficult it was to find that. But at the same time, this is when you've already spent so much time not successful. We lost that opportunity
Yeah.
to be kind of the guinea pigs.
Right.
Not saying that it shouldn't be us, like there's a time and a place for everything. But even like with the kids, when the kids were little at the teaching hospital, when my son had this chronic disorder that kept happening and they kept giving us like they would round on us. And I'm like, guys, like no bueno. Like you just gotta
Hmm.
give us like a minute. You can't keep doing this, but you have to be the one that speaks up for yourself. So you get pregnant with your 20s. And now, how did you tell your sister?
So she knew that we were gonna do both of them. So I think like right when after the ultrasound, I'm like, oh yeah, they're both in there. So yeah, she like knew from the beginning.
Did you
And
have the
then
issue with the HCG rising? Did you, before the ultrasound, did you have to go in for blood work and then just
yeah.
watching those numbers like climb Everest? And you're like, something is up here.
Yeah, I mean, because I knew that with twins, so I was like, it might be. So I feel like when I first saw it, I was kind of like, oh, this is a little scary, just because people say like it's high risk. So I was a little scared, but then also excited. And then I was just like, I feel like it's gonna be fine. So my mom went to 37 weeks, which
Wow.
and had a C-section, which back then was full term to them.
Yep.
So I felt like I could do this, like, like my mom was able to do it, so I'll be able to do it. So yeah, they were like excited. And I think the most anxious part was I kind of wanted girl twins just because that's what I know.
Of
It's like
course.
I know how to make them close, like how they're gonna be close. But then my husband, like he was super excited that he has a boy. So I was like, okay, I'm happy too. Because I'm happy he has a boy and I have a girl.
Oh,
So
Helen, I'm
it
so
worked
excited
out.
for you. I don't think that there's any winning set of 20s. I
Yeah.
think that every set is the winning set for your family. It's just so interesting that if you know that potentially you may or may not have more, it's so interesting raising boys and raising girls. It's so different. And so to be
Mhm.
able to kind of get that in one batch is
Yeah.
like a really special gift. It's really exciting. I'm so excited for you. And I love it. I love that you said that everyone needs a twin. You said literally everyone needs a twin.
Yeah.
What are some of the reasons why you think that everybody needs a twin?
Yeah. I think just because we're so close, like it's, she's never gonna judge. Well, I mean, we judge each other a little bit, but like, we're not gonna turn our backs on each other. So
Yeah.
it's like you literally can say anything. We just like really know each other really well. So like if we're going out and we're bored or we want to leave a party, it's like, we still can kind of communicate that without saying it. Like we're just on the same page about things. So I think that's nice. And just having that close person that understands like your life experiences,
Yeah.
with growing up with your parents and stuff. I will say that having a twin, it makes you very like conscientious of other people, almost to a fault though, because like we were always kind of thinking about the other person. So I feel like sometimes we're like, it's annoying always being the bigger person because sometimes we
Mm.
are, because like we think about other people's feelings a lot because we always were thinking about each other.
Yep.
So sometimes that gets kind of annoying because it's like we shouldn't And not that we're
Annoying.
people.
Helen, that's such a delicious trait to have. I can't believe that empathy is annoying to you guys.
Well,
But
no, just like
it's
we
fascinating.
feel guilty. Like
Yeah.
sometimes we'll feel guilty when you shouldn't. You don't have to like manage other people's emotions,
No, absolutely not.
like that.
It is very funny that we've discussed this, and we've definitely had discussed it in other podcast episodes about how when your 20s are born, that they are almost like pre-programmed with certain things that singletons aren't necessarily. And one of them is that biggest empathy kind of component, is because you've always taken care of her and she's always taken care of you, and you've looked out for her and she's looked
Hmm.
out for you. And it's not the same thing as having a sibling. I have a sister that's 3 years older, but I get to, and I would say that my sister's my ride or die, my best friend. Like I would go on for days, but it's nothing in comparison to the relationship that my twins have with each other. It's just so funny, but they really, even I can remember when they were younger at the playground, that they would be the first person that would tell people to come play with them. Or when they were in middle school to say, come sit at our lunch table, because I think that pack mentality is a big deal with you guys. And I'm so excited that you get to have that pack
Yeah.
mentality again and kind of nurture it. But it makes 20s in general, I think definitely, and I shouldn't just say 20s, it's trippies and quads and quints and everybody. There's just this kind of empathetic component that you can't teach. It's just kind of instilled in you from the moment you guys took your first breaths together. So, I'm so excited for you.
And
Oh,
I think one thing though that was like I want to do differently with my twins though is like I feel like we were closer to each other. So like we were dependent on each other more so than like our parents. Like how there's some people like, oh, I call my mom for everything or this and that. It's like, no, I just call Emma, my twin. So that's the only thing. Like we're close to our mom, but it's like we definitely it's us first,
mhm.
which is different. So it's like I do want to change that up with my
I
twins
I wouldn't
in a way.
I would not.
But
I
I
wouldn't change. As a mom sitting on this side of the table, there is nothing that brings me more comfort than knowing that my children have each other for security and depend on each
Mhm.
other. Because the thing is, Helen, the thing that you're looking at this is that you were the twin, right? You are a twin, you were the twin. But now as a parent, we're just renting these kids. You only get a few years with these little guys that are in your tummy right now. They're not yours. They're the
Yeah.
world's. And so it's
True.
our job to raise them to be good members of society. So the thing is, if they were dependent on each other, that relationship is going to last longer than their relationship with me because I
It's
was
true.
already almost 30 by the time that I had them. So they have me 30 years less. We're just looking at like old school, how long am I going to live? But I want to not, I don't want to discourage you from being the number one because you're going to be the number one anyway, whether you like it or not. But once they start getting older and you start relying on just the way that you relied on your sister, it's actually so much healthier for them to rely on their peer than to rely
Yeah,
on their parent.
that's true, actually. Yeah.
They're going to have each other. That's the strongest relationship that they will ever have, even stronger than the bond that they would have in marriage. I hate to say it, but it seems
Yeah.
that, for 20s especially, that their relationship with their twin is I feel bad saying that for the husbands and wives that are out there, but it's just different. It's not that they
Yeah.
love somebody more or less. It's just something when you only know this one person, that's it. This is your person. And then you get to
Yeah,
have
it
bonus
is.
people. So now your kids get to have a person and get to have bonus people, which is
Right.
really exciting. What do you think is like one of the milestones that you and your sissy might have experienced that you're hoping that your twins get the opportunity to experience?
I think we experienced like pretty much all our milestones together. Like we were always in the same class. So like kindergarten, they separated us because we went to public school and they said they did that. And then after that, we went to Catholic schools. So there's only one class. So we were all together. And then I guess high school, our dad wrote a letter and made them put us in every single class together. Even though they said they don't do that. But he was like, no, put them in every class together. So our freshman year we were, and then after that we weren't. So I guess that was kind of just a milestone when we were like separated. It wasn't, I don't think it was bad. Like, I don't remember being like, oh no, I don't have her with me in
Mhm.
high school. So I guess it still worked that we were like we weren't, super dependent on each other, because we still had like our own kind of friendships, but then our best friends were always kind of the same.
So it's
So I
not
think that,
not a dependence, it's a security.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's just nice. It's just nice knowing
Mhm.
that your other person is there, whether it's in the same room or not. How did you feel that freshman year? Do you feel how do you think it affected your relationship with your twinnie when you were separated in freshman year?
I don't think it really changed it. I think it just kind of helped us like meet more people. So like broaden our friendships, I guess. And like, cause she did cheerleading and I didn't. So like we kind of had different friends in that aspect. So then we introduced different friends. Cause like one of our best friends, I was best friends with her first. And then like because Emma was cheering and we like hung out during the football games and that's how we
Mhm.
became close. And then Emma became close. And then we would always, me and my best friend Jessica would do things kind of while we were waiting for her, driving around doing things we probably shouldn't have been doing, waiting for her to get off or get released and stuff. So that was always like fun and we would make Emma, she was more of the scary cat. We would make her do things like, she's like, oh, we're going to get in trouble. And then that completely flipped and she's not like that anymore. But I remember in high school, we're like, no, we're doing it. Just who cares? Our parents, they're not going to find out. It's fine. We would drag her along.
That's too funny. I'm so excited for you. I think like we've done episodes with people that are twins that have had twins before, and it's never lost on me how I'm just fascinated that are you going to raise them differently because your worldview is of that of a twin. So are
Mm.
you going to even be like, is it like an exponential empathetic situation?
Oh
Like
yeah.
what is this? Is this like a pyramid twin scheme? Like what's exactly happening? But I always wonder how it's going to affect the way that you parent them. But then there's no way we're going to know because you only know your life the way that you know it.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because my husband's always like, yeah, okay, I guess I'm gonna be really ganged up on now. Because it's me and my sister against him sometimes. Because like,
We got to
and he
clone him,
knows,
Helen.
yeah.
We got to start the process of cloning him so that at least
Yeah.
he could have a partner.
Yeah. I'm like, well, at least you have a boy now. So, because if it were two girls, I was like, oh, that would just be me, Emma, and the two girls against him.
Oh my
So
gosh.
he's lucky.
Imagine that poor guy. I would have felt bad
Yeah.
for him. That's it. We would have had to get him some extra dogs or something.
Yeah.
So now with this, you're right there. You're right towards the latter part of your pregnancy. It's going to happen soon. Within the next few weeks, you're going to be on this side of the twin world, sitting here. Did you have any conversations with your mother about what it's like raising twins?
A little bit. So, because my mom's from the Philippines, so when we were younger, like our grandmother lived with us for a little
Hmm.
bit. So she had a lot of help. And then I think right when we were first born, my grandmother's sister lived with us too. So it was like when my
Oh,
mom went back to work, they each could take care of us. So it wasn't that bad because everyone's like, oh, it's gonna be so hard. You're gonna have two babies, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, they never complained about it being really hard. And
mhm.
like my mom is gonna help us too. So I'm like, I'm not that worried about it. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be hard, but we'll see. And so like I think with like the Filipino side, you're kind of raised with a lot of people with you. So
It's
it's kind
village.
of, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like everyone kind of has a hand in raising you. So yeah, I guess that's kind of like what it's gonna be similar because she's gonna
yeah,
help us. And my husband like likes having her around, so that helps. He
that
isn't
does.
like, no, your mom can't stay here.
I
So
think it's a lot less intimidating when you've been through this and you know that everybody's going to make it through. I think a lot of
mhm.
times when people, because with 20s, you have not just the regular kind of like heebie-jeebies of being a new parent, like, is the baby still breathing? Are they eating enough? What's happening? So you have like all those regular parent situations. And then, of course, you have at times two, which complicates things so much more because they are two different people just happening to, they just happen to have the same birth date. So with your mom being there, I think, and also you being a twin, I think you're going to have, if I have to make a prediction into my magic 8 ball, you're going to have a nicer time with it because although it will be stressful, it's nothing that your mom hasn't experienced. And if your mom is
Hmm.
chill, you will pick up on her vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that helps. And then a lot of my friends already had kids. So like that helps. Like, my best friend gave me a bunch of clothes and stuff for them. So like all that helps. So I can ask them, is this
Beautiful.
normal? So
Beautiful. Tick all the
it worked
stuff.
out.
Good. Good. So when you are going into, you're in labor, do we have an idea who baby A is and who baby B is? Do we know if A is our girl or our dude?
Yes. So A is the boy and
A
then
is our
B is the
boy.
girl. Yes. She right now
Oh,
she's breached. So
okay.
we need her to flip.
We
So
need her
we'll
to
see.
flip. So please, I'll send her a fax in a little bit
Okay.
and she
Yes, that's
will have to get on that. Yes, because I'm
yes.
sure she could receive them in utero. I don't know any other way to communicate with
Yeah.
fetuses. So that's so exciting. Are you nervous about it, or do you feel like, no, I've had a lot of time to prepare. I've had a lot of time with accepting whether, that I'm fertile now after not being fertile. And as my sister always reminded me, I paid extra for this. So anytime I would complain about something, she would be like, gentle reminder, you paid
Yeah,
extra.
true.
Do you feel ready?
I mean, I feel kind of ready. I mean, we definitely still have a couple things we need to do still. I'm not that scared because you have to do it. I'm
Mhm.
like it just has to happen. So I can't really worry about it too much. I'm not against the epidural, so I feel like that'll help. I mean, I'm a little worried if I have a C-section, just the recovery, because the endo recovery was kind of bad. And then just trying to get up is probably going to be harder with a C-section. So kind of worried about that, but I feel like it's like a week of the worst and then you can get over it. So I'm good
Yeah.
at counting down things. There's a limit to it.
Yes, you could tolerate anything if you know that there's an end in sight.
Yeah.
So, and it's just you're already proven to be such a good, advocate for yourself, and you have the confidence to know that everybody's going to make it through this, and you've been through harder crap in your life, and this is going to be just different, and it's exciting, and you get to see the future right before your eyes every single day.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's so beautiful. It really is. And I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older and I'm realizing just how amazing it's been. But since I started Twiniversity 15 years ago, I could tell you my worldview. And I also think the world's really changed from 15 years ago. Like, but I think that every generation says that. Although, like, I was sitting here and like I'm watching the news today and I'm like, oh my gosh, this didn't happen when I was young. But then I think about like when my mom was young, of things that didn't happen when she was young. And it's just the world's going to change, and the
Hmm.
constant of them having each other is going to be kind of that lighthouse security that they
Right.
always know that they have each other. And Helen, I'm so excited for you and your
Thanks.
husband and your mother and your sissy. And are they going to have a special name for her because she's not just an aunt? She's their twinnie. Like it's their,
We haven't really thought about that. So,
oh,
I mean, it like in Filipino Tagalog, tita means aunt. So I don't know. We didn't think of anything special. I mean,
mm,
we do think like we are like, okay, we have to get similar outfits and them similar outfits and take pictures
of
together.
course,
So we're
100%.
we're
Goes
like
without saying.
definitely gonna do that.
But I always think like, and I think about this not just with you and your sister, but with any twins that are out there, I do feel that there should be a different name for an aunt or an
Mhm.
uncle that's your parent's twin because
Yeah, I
it
never
should
thought about
mark
it.
that. Listen, I'm ready to start a letter writing campaign. I don't know who we go to, but it's such a different relationship than your other siblings. Because if you're going
Hmm.
to use the same name for your sissy as you would your older siblings, it doesn't specify that it's that different of a relationship when it really is.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that. So I'll have to ask her. Like, what do you want to be
100%.
called?
I'm dying to know. All right, keep us posted on that. But Helen, I cannot possibly thank you enough for just spending time with us and just choosing to share your story and giving us so much hope for the families that are out there listening, whether it's endo, PCOS, or everything that falls under that umbrella. And no matter how many times you just get knocked down. You got to just get up and you got to see what the future holds for you, because we're two of the lucky ones, right? We're two of the lucky people
Yes.
who had success, but there's a lot of us out there. And I also think that you
Hmm.
changed your practice really goes to show that honestly, even if it wasn't the practice, right, that was making your success or failure,
Right.
starting fresh gives you that fresh perspective, that fresh hope, and it just makes things, I think, a little bit better in the positive direction. I feel like if we're in a better mind state, then our bodies kind of follow. I
Yeah.
know that's actually true. So I don't know why I'm saying I think. I know that's actually what
Yeah.
happens. But Helen, thank you so, so much for playing us. Do you promise that you will follow up with us? And maybe this could be a
Yes.
two-part episode, and then maybe we'll wait till after the 20s are here and we'll put them as bookends.
Yeah, that would be fun. We could
That
definitely
would be
do that.
fun. Okay, so that I'm
Yeah.
already officially declaring that follow up for part two with Helen once the
Okay.
20s are here. I am so, so, so excited. And listen, for those of you and Helen that are out there, it is stressful having 20s, and pregnancies could be very stressful, but know that we're really here every step of the way. And so me and the Twiniversity team, we get up every day to hope that we can make your lives a little bit easier. So I'm hoping we did that a little bit, Helen.
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay,
did.
good. All right. Well, I'm glad because you found us, which is you already knew who we were,
Yes.
which makes me feel a lot better. All right. So I'm sending out all the good vibes into the universe for Helen
Thank you.
and everybody else that's currently expecting. And know that if you need anything from me or any member of our Twiniversity team, you could either slide into our DMs on any social platform. We're just at Twiniversity every place, or you could email us at community@twiniversity.com. Or if you need anything specifically from me, you could email me directly at natalie@twiniversity.com. But I'm so stoked for part two of this episode. So stay tuned,
Yes.
guys. Thanks again, Helen, and we'll see you guys.
Thanks,
See you later,
Nat.
alligators.